turned down a 2-year extension this offseason. Here's more of what he said.
Can the two sides figure out a way whereby maybe they could knock off 2 years of that contract and allow Aaron Rodgers to leave Green Bay after the season? And would that be enough to bring him to camp next week? I think either way, if and when Aaron Rodgers does show up for this season, this certainly looks like it will be his final season in Green Bay, with him expected to leave after this season. I've been told that Aaron Rodgers is all over the place, and this changes his mind quite often about what he does and doesn't want to do.
All right, again, the football crew is here, Sacho and Jeff Saturday. But Kimberly Martin, we start with you, because as you were watching the fans in Milwaukee, these great fans in the state of Wisconsin celebrating a championship last night, I know you had thoughts going through your mind.
Greeny, I could only think of writing a letter to Aaron Rodgers, and it goes like this. Dear Aaron, wouldn't it be great if the state of Wisconsin not only won one championship, but 2 this year? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't it be great if you followed up Giannis's legendary performance with your own Hall of Fame type curtain call? Just give the fans one more year in Green Bay. Because otherwise, I think that sounds pretty good, but you need to tell me, what do you want? Do you even know what you want? Because I know you're engaged, so I'm going to give you some marriage advice, because I've been married 7 years. At some point, you can't just be mad at your partner. You got to tell your partner why the hell you're mad. You got to be able to communicate what it is that you want them to do and whether you want to be there. So please, Aaron, let everybody know. I want to hear from you. Do you want to be in Green Bay or not? Because we're doing a lot of speculation, and really ultimately you have to decide where you want to be. And hopefully for the fans in Wisconsin and Green Bay, it's back in yellow.
I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. So that's the open letter. So if you're Jeff Saturday, if you get that letter and you're Aaron, what do you want? What does he want? What are you thinking as you're watching this conversation take place?
He wants out. Listen, that's the one thing that's been consistent with Aaron, right? I mean, he said that, Shefty reported that, I think, way back in April or March or whenever it was, and when this saga began, and just talked about he's ready to be out of Green Bay. The issue is Green Bay holds all the cards. And when you're sitting as a franchise with a 3-year contract, he has nowhere to go. So his only leverage, Greeny, is to hold out for regular season games. And I understand the hope that, hey, we'll get this done before training camp or when training camp. He can't put pressure on the Packers until he misses regular season football games. And then ultimately he's trying to get the last 2 years of his contract cut off. So if he does play, like Kimberly's saying, hey, this is his best chance to win the Super Bowl. There's no doubt in my mind with the Packers this year, after 2 NFC championship games that they've fallen short, this is the chance, right? Here's your opportunity. But ultimately he wants those back 2 years cut off. So when he is done playing in Green Bay and the curtain call happens, hopefully in the greatest moment for him, he moves on to the next organization.
And Sacho, with your history with the Players Union and his having been involved in so many ways, you've dealt with him in ways and seen him in circumstances that most of the rest of the world has not. With that sort of writing letters, Jeff Saturday, back-to-back days, and Sam Acho will do Ask Sacho a little later this morning. But there is today only one place to begin. The Bucks, the Suns, Game 6, and the entire city of Milwaukee took to the streets to be ready to watch their team celebrate their first championship in half a century, but it wasn't easy. Phoenix led it at halftime, then third quarter, Giannis taking over, little pull away over Jay Crowder, then underneath, and the finish, 16 of 25 from the floor for the Greek Freak. Later in the third, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez. Oh, he puts DeAndre Ayton on a poster, tied at 77. Go to the fourth, what a game. Bucks up 2 now in the fourth quarter. Devin Booker going to the hole, but look at this. It's Giannis. He owns the paint on both sides. Another legendary block for Giannis. He had 5 blocks in the game, and then less than a minute later, did I say he owns the paint? Throwing it down on Frank Kaminsky. Bucks by 6. They can feel it. Under 3 to play now. Shot clock winding down. Giannis working on Mikal Bridges. Giannis, 50 points in Game 6 last night. 2 minutes ago. Suns desperate, trying to hang around. Bobby Portis, no. Devin Booker, the other way. A good series he had. He had 19 last night. They're within 6, but with a minute to go, the Bucks are looking for the dagger, and the man who closes for them Chris Middleton, the Mariano Rivera of this Milwaukee championship. He had 17, and they're going crazy inside and outside the beginning. 50 points and a celebration 50 years in the making. The Bucks win it 105-98. Giannis and company, champions of the basketball world.
Just believe on what you're doing. Keep working. Don't let nobody tell you what you can be and what you cannot do. People told me I can't make free throws. I made my free throws tonight, and I'm a freaking champion. This is an addicting feeling. I love playing in the playoffs. I love playing in the finals. I love playing with the ball is heavy. And this is the moments I want to chase more. I want our team to build off this, and hopefully we can do it again.
What an absolute masterpiece to hang on the wall for Giannis, the 9th player to win multiple MVPs and a finals MVP in his career. The only men to do it younger than he is are Tim Duncan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a lifetime ago. And here's Tim Legler. And, Timmy, what are the right things to say about that performance last night? I don't have the adjectives for it. How would you describe it?
It's a great way to put it. I'm at a loss for words to describe exactly how great he was because Giannis Antetokounmpo already has a phenomenal resume. But when you look at the game last night, to play your greatest game in your most significant moment as an athlete, how many guys ever get to put those two things together? And that's exactly what he did last night. Greedy, I just don't think I've ever seen him play with a greater combination of force and finesse. Now, obviously, he was going to dominate a smaller Suns team in the paint. He did it the entire series. But last night, the step-back jumper, the free throw making, some of the finishes he had off the move from strange angles where he's using touch. He made a push shot from 15 feet last night. He did everything that was required to get this team across the finish line on a night in which his next two best offensive players really struggled. It was really solely up to Giannis Antetokounmpo to make this happen and prevent them having to go on the road for a Game 7. I was at a loss for how great this performance was. It's one of the greatest I have seen in my lifetime. 10 years in the league, 20 years as an analyst. And even the times I can remember growing up and watching great players play on this stage. It's one of the greatest performances I've seen, period. For any NBA player under any circumstances, that's how great he was last night, particularly when you combine with what he did on the defensive end of the floor to affect that game.
Yeah, 50 points, 5 blocks among the numbers that Giannis puts up last night. But it's more than a night. It's a story. It's about a young player who decided to sign a Supermax last summer because he didn't want that to be a distraction hanging over his team all year long. He could be looking for a super team right now. He could have been a free agent right now trying to join up with other people. But he did it the hard way in Milwaukee, where it's been 50 years since Lou Alcindor. What is that story, Tim Legler?
Phenomenal for the league, first of all. I just think a guy following a different script, Greeny, than what we're seeing now. When guys get drafted into the league now, they're already thinking about their second stop before they've even played one game for the team that drafted them. That's the way modern basketball looks. It really starts on the AAU circuit, the way guys try to pair up and play together on high school teams, AAU. They develop these relationships. It carries on to the NBA. They think about playing together one day. So to have a guy get drafted, and really, on draft night, this was a guy that wanted to lead the Milwaukee Bucks to a championship at one point. Look at some of the early stuff he put out on social media when he was 18, 19 years old and what he wanted to do. And he actually accomplished it in a small market city. He decided to stay. He took all of that money, and he squarely took on the pressure and the weight that comes with that. And look, you hope as a star player you eventually get enough talent around you to be able to pull this off. He had great success with Chris Middleton, but it took adding another guy, and Drew Holiday was an enormous part of this championship. So you hope your front office is astute enough to add the right piece at the right time. And they caught some breaks this year with some of the injuries that, with the Brooklyn Nets in particular in the Eastern Conference. But so what? They stayed together. They got it done. And I think it's a great storyline for the NBA. It shows guys out there coming into the league, you can do this. You're going to need help, but you can do it. And I just love his commitment to this team, to this franchise, to this city, the way he accepted the responsibility of what true greatness is and responsibility to lead the franchise that drafted you to this special place, and a place they haven't been in 50 years. I cannot say enough about what this means for the NBA and how good this is for the league to see a guy do it a little bit differently.
I completely agree with that, Tim. Stay close by. We're going to do much, much, much more on this. Tim Legler standing by all morning, and we'll get Big Perk in here, we'll get Jalen in here, and a whole lot more as the Bucks win the NBA championship last night. But as the celebration was going on in Milwaukee, right up the road in Green Bay, there remain all these questions as we are 6 days away